So, as I was saying, I don't know if wanders have the same experience for you as they do for me. But whenever I need a reset, this is where I come. And I'm sure you have your spots too. In fact, if you have little spots that you go, I would love for you to send me a little note. Logan, where do you wander? Anyone else that's on here with us or listening to the recording, I'd love you to be able to just add in your thoughts. Hello, Valoria. Hi, sweetheart. Turn it around to say hi. Hello. So, as we were saying, the internet may not be stable, but we definitely feel stable in this amazing environment. That's for sure. Oh, I'm so glad to see you guys pop on. I think about you all the time, and I've so loved our connections and all the beautiful connections and chats and DMs and sharing and your beautiful creative spirits. And it's just amazing to share a little spot of our paradise in White Rock, BC with you. So I'm taking you on my little walk and I'm hoping that the internet connection will last. Hi, sweetie. Oh, yes, I saw your note, Logan. It is. I remember being in Vegas. It is a little tough, but man, do you have some gorgeous pools. So I'm going to turn the camera around so you can just do the walk with me. It's so quiet here. And I can't believe that in a few weeks, Logan, you'll be here with me for a day. It's absolutely lovely. And Valoria, you need to come too. And I am hoping that at one point, not too distant in the future, that I'll do a workshop and a retreat here in BC. And so maybe that might be a little closer than Guatemala for you beautiful ladies. And you'll come because I know mamas need a break. Now, here's the ultimate test of fitness that you can do a live video while hiking up incredible amounts of stairs. So I think I'm doing okay. Anyway, I'll turn it around so you can see because we're coming to the ocean. I saw your message, Valoria, on DM. It popped up actually. And then I was going to connect right after I was off the live video. So here, I hope you can see it because it's a little cloudy today. There's the ocean for you ladies. This is one of our favorite spots. And then here, we actually did, when I walked El Camino de Santiago, I walked a couple of years ago and, catch my breath. I walked El Camino a couple of years ago. And when I came back to Canada, we did wanders all through here, through Ruth Johnson Park. And it was amazing. We brought people together and actually, I'm going to sit for a moment. And actually what we ended up doing was, I don't know if you've ever heard of El Camino de Santiago or ever done it, but it's quite a phenomenal experience. And my favorite thing about El Camino is that you actually wander all day on your own and you have this beautiful solo time to just be introspective and be in nature and quiet. And then when you get to the end of your 20-kilometer or, about 15 to 20-kilometer walk per day, when you get to the end, then you get to be with your people and you meet incredible souls that are walking El Camino with you. But during the days, you have this beautiful, quiet time to yourself to just be along these ancient trails where literally billions of people have walked. And so when we came back to Canada, I actually brought the wanders with me, and they were called Wild Wanders and Surrender Adventures. And we ended up doing them through the parks in BC. And we would do walking solo during the day. And then we would meet in an area in the park. I would only do it with about 15 people at a time so that it was a more intimate experience, kind of like the Guatemala retreats that are coming up. And then we would have everyone meet And in meditation, we would move through a moving meditation, kind of like Qigong. And then I did up these fun little workshop booklets where everybody, with every new walk they would do, we would have a little handout of questions that you would, introspective questions that you would fill out. And then we would get together in a group after we'd had some time on our own to just sit with the experience of being keenly alive and soulfully attuned with everything around us on these walks. Then we would meet as a group and we would talk about our experience and then have lunch together and stuff. And it was really amazing. And unfortunately, in Canada, you need to have a permit for every park you ever walk through. So we weren't able to do that, but it did give a wonderful insight into what I would like to do and eventually walking El Camino de Santiago, both in Spain and then also in Portugal is the next one I'd like to do. But first Guatemala in October and then do a few workshops here in Canada, probably on Bowen Island, the place that I love to retreat more than anything. And I'm hoping to have particularly the two ladies on the call right now, Valoria and Logan. I would love to have you on one of those retreats with me one day. I think we would have some really wonderful stories to share about our experiences. And I've just loved getting to know you both. So, and I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see walking down. These are all the homes on the way to the ocean. I'm hoping I still have you guys here. Aw, thanks, Logan. I just love you. You always make me feel sparkly on the inside whenever I see your little name pop up and your lovely notes. You're just so supportive. Oh, you're so cute. I don't know if I can do that little heart, but I am. I'm sending you hearts if that's working. So this is the walk down to the water. And my beautiful husband, Todd, is walking behind just so he could have a little one-on-one time with you guys. But yeah, we're heading down and actually we own a business together. We have a publishing company called Mad Hero Publishing, and it's more of a soulful publishing project and work. And, just a different process than we've kind of seen or experienced. So we go for our little chats, our office meetings, we go down to the ocean and do them here because every day is an adventure to be taken advantage of. As I know the people on this call and these beautiful people on Substack that we get to call community feel that same way. And so you get a bit of a workout and then you also get, you know, a wonderful place to just go sit at a coffee shop or sit down by the ocean and be able to take it all in and dream. And oh, hi, sweetie. Oh, thank you. It is beautiful. I know where you ladies are, and whoever's on this call, we all have chosen places to lay our hats that are equally as spectacular, that speak to our souls. And so it's just lovely to share where one another call home because it's just magical to get to know one another, the choices that we've made and where we've ended up. And not just emotionally and psychologically, but physically, what we've manifested in our lives and what we've created. And I'm originally from quite a chilly place in Ontario, Canada, and lots of snow in the winter. And my husband's from Thunder Bay, way up north in Ontario. And so we kept creeping further and further west until we finally ended up here about, 2018 is when we moved from Calgary. And then we've been here in White Rock since 2020. We actually moved during COVID. And I'll turn it back to say hi. So got to be careful with the traffic. Don't want it to be my last live. So we moved here in 2020 in the middle of COVID, and it ended up being quite amazing because it's normally a very busy beach town. And so we got to be here in the time when it was very quiet. And so we would go to the restaurants and sit outside. And just, it really felt like it was a little pocket of safety in a very precarious world. And so we felt incredibly grateful, spent a lot of time at the beach as we do now. And so I'm just taking you down to the ocean now so you can see. Okay, here you go. This is beautiful train tracks. We have a passenger train as well as, of course, cargo as well. And I hope somewhere I haven't lost my husband. So it's just cool. And they've got these beautiful, um, hi, Jeff. Oh, that's great. Nice to meet you, Jeff. Almost, but it feels a little more real when we're doing the live thing and we get to see each other face to face. So thanks for chiming in. It's awesome. I always appreciate your posts. Oh man, we have so many creative people in this community, don't we? It's phenomenal. So, for those of you that are just joining, I'm just bringing you down to the beach here in White Rock, British Columbia, for a little wander with me, because wandering is one of those ways we reset our bodies and our minds and tap back into that soul. So, I'm going to turn the camera around so you can enjoy the beautiful ocean view. And I was sharing a story about how this is where this is where my husband and I do our business planning meetings. And it's quite spectacular because we are never alone on the journeys. Whenever we end up landing somewhere to have a little bit of a meeting down on the beach, we always have these beautiful creatures join us. And I'll be quiet for a moment just as we come down to the sound of the water so you can hear that instead of my voice. And I don't know if I'll find some now, but I've got to tell you that this place is incredible for heart rocks. If you've done any of reading of my posts or my work, I am a big believer in manifesting many things, but what we focus on becomes our reality, as I know so many of you join me in understanding and embracing. And so there are millions and millions of heart rocks along these beautiful shorelines. And I actually, hi again, I actually collect heart rocks all along these beaches. And then when I do push ups, I create something called juju stones or soul stones. And I infuse them and hold them. They're already filled with beautiful energy of already being washed up on this beach and coming from this incredible, incredible ocean. But in addition to that, I kind of hold them and I put thoughts and intentions into these juju stones. And then I wrap them in paper and twist a little circle at the top, and then you can actually place it on to make it hang to do stuff random, or you can fuse it with beautiful energy. And when I walked out coming out of Santiago, I found it was actually a bit of a joke because I was traveling for part of the time with this gal named Jennifer, and she's from Germany. And she's just such an invigorating soul and so incredible. But she also is so clear about certain things, and she's very direct. So she one day we got to the end of one of our travel times. We didn't walk together, but we would separate, walk on our own. And I see your little note. Oh yes, I did talk about them in the book, Just One Soul Thing. Thanks, Logan. I love that you're right in there with me in all things, honey. You're just so awesome. Anyway, so this Jennifer, we got to the end of one of our walking trips, and she said, "So Jen, what's with all the heart rocks? There's so many heart rocks rattling around. What's, pardon my language, what's with the fucking heart rocks?" And I just laughed, and I was like, "Well, I think a billion people walking El Camino, a year. Maybe there's some really good energy." And so anyway, she would laugh about the fact that there were these hard rocks everywhere. And there were guys that we met along the journey that weren't maybe there for a pilgrimage of soul of sorts. They were there to kind of hang with their buddies and go from hub to pub. So everybody does El Camino in a different way. And so anyway, they laughed at us about this whole heart rock thing as I pulled out, handfuls of these heart rocks that I'd been collecting. And they're like, "So you're collecting rocks to weigh down your journey. And I was like, no, the rocks, I infuse them with my thoughts and energy as I walk El Camino de Santiago. And then I get to go home. And when I hold that rock, there's some magic there. And I know you ladies can relate. And so anyway, it was very funny. And then I've talked about the story with, the 33s are just like this number that just pops up for me all the time. And so anyway, she would laugh about these 33s. She was like, oh, I don't really understand what this 33 is about. Why is you and the 33s? I see the threes everywhere. And then one day we were walking and she looked at me and said, you're a freak. And I said, why? What are you talking about, Jen? And she goes, look behind your head. And I turned around and there was this giant 33 sign right behind my head. She's like, you're a freak. These 33s, they follow you like everywhere. They find you. And so needless to say, the signs that are meant to find us. And they're just, for me, they're little soulful winks from the universe or from God or whatever your thought process is around that spiritual component of creator of life. But it's just those reminders where you feel like you're heard and understood, or it's a little bit of encouragement. And, it's just, we have to see the signs everywhere so that we feel that connection. And when we do, we can accomplish so many beautiful things and we feel encouraged on our way, as well as encouraging one another along the journey. So, and I'm just going to read. I said, oh, my dad gifted me a heart rock when I was small. He found on a camping trip by the ocean. Oh, Gloria, that's beautiful. That's such a beautiful thing. Forever and ever you have that. Who needs to go out to stores to buy presents when we have gifts around us everywhere? And so just to tie that in, we're going to hop a river here. I'll show you the little river. So hopefully we make it. Nice. We're good. So just along those lines, Valoria. So when I was walking El Camino, my dad had passed away in 2018. He was my best friend, other than my husband and many kindred souls I've had, but he was the first man I ever loved. He was just such a remarkable soul. And so when I got to Oklahoma, there's a whole story there, but I actually had 24 hours before I was leaving for El Camino, I had an injury a number of years ago where I slipped on a marble floor and I injured my back. And so if you read the blog stories about El Camino on my website, jennifermaki.com, you read some of this. But so I'd had this back injury. And then when I was getting ready to go to El Camino, I had to carry this huge pack, of course, because you're traveling 20 kilometer, I was travel 233 miles. And so I had this huge pack and I was packing it and I just leaned the wrong way. The day before I was leaving on the vacation, like on the train to go and take the train up to going to southern or northern Spain. So anyway, I leaned over. I completely puffed my back out. I could not stand up straight. And I talk a lot about surrender adventures because oftentimes when we go on these adventures in life, whether it's a daily one or it's something special, we have to surrender to what happens and find the lessons for ourselves. And then how do we incorporate that into our lives or into the moment and see where the lesson is or where the gift is, extract that, and then run with it. And so there were many along the journey that I've written about. But this one was, I was out flat. I was trying to carry this backpack. The angels that came into my life to help me make this 20-year dream come true they were just extraordinary. So I went from not being able to walk, thinking that I maybe would have to cancel this 20-year dream that I had had. And then in meditation, I heard this little voice inside that we all have. It said, hey, you've been studying health and wellness for over 20 years. You have got everything you need inside of you to heal thyself. And all you need to do is tap in. And so for 24 hours, I meditated, I did Qigong, I stretched, I walked and wandered. I did not curl up in a ball and lie in my bed like I wanted to. I kept moving, and I got the help that I needed with someone. This called the Mochila Company, and so they carry your backpack from town to town. Anyway, for about almost maybe 30 hours after this had happened, I was still feeling a little off, but I walked 22 kilometers my first day. And as I walked, I tapped into the nature and healing of the trees. I would pause every marker. On El Camino, they have markers that every part along the trip, it tells you where the next, turn off is. I would pause, I would stretch, I would meditate, I would put my hands on the trees, and I would work to just heal my body as I was moving. And it was miraculous. I was able to walk 233 miles. And through that experience, I actually was able to tap some incredible healing techniques that allowed me. I've not had a back issue since. So whenever I have it and it gives me that little inkling of, ooh, you put your back, it's twinging or whatever, I now have the tools to be able to heal thyself after spending, hundreds of thousands of dollars on trying to heal this back issue. So these surrender adventures and the signs that we see and the ways in which we look within and listen to that wisdom that we already have are just so essential. And I know that I'm preaching to the choir on this live call, and whoever is watching it and it finds you, there's obviously a reason why you're here. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be able to share an authentic community. I'm grateful to have kindred souls who know about the power of self-healing and the beauty of signs and the essential nature of boundaries, like you talk about, Gloria, and these signs and inklings from the universe and our earth that you talk about, Logan. And I'm really grateful to be in community with people that just are so akin with that understanding. And I'm just thrilled to have done my first little live thing with you two and with whoever else I find here. It's hard for me to see in the bright sunshine of who else is on the call, but thank you for joining. And I'm going to close this off actually by just going to the water's edge. And I'm just going to turn the camera around and I'm going to just let you be in silence. Maybe it's just, I hope you've enjoyed whatever the chat is, but I want you to have some time and quiet and just wrap it up with a few minutes of just beautiful cleansing deep breaths and feeling the love that I'm sending to you, the bliss bubble that I'm surrounding you with, ensuring that anything that serves you permeates that bubble and anything that doesn't just bounces right off, and just being in the quiet and in the ocean. Thank you for joining me. I'm not sure if you can still see me. It's so hard to tell, but I'm sending lots of love. And so I'm going to turn the camera around. Thank you for joining. And I'll look forward to figuring this whole live thing out in advance so people have some notice. But I just spontaneity was the name of the game today in the surrender adventure. So I'm sending you lots of love. Have a beautiful day, and I'm going to turn it around so you can just be in the gentle breeze and the silence. Take care and have a beautiful day. Till next time.